six, five, four, three, two, one, go.
78.6 FM Yoma time. This is Positive Vibes with Winsome. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh man, so much to be thankful for, so much to be happy about, so much to be positive about, despite, and I repeat that, despite all the potential negative things that'll be easy to pay attention to going on around us right now, man. So let me just say this. To anybody who's going through some struggles right now, you got some stories that are not so fun, not so happy. Let me tell you something, man. Keep fighting. Keep fighting, man. On this side of it, it's going to seem like it's a forever battle. But I'm going to tell you, anything you're going through, man, it's temporary. You keep fighting. There's always going to be a bright day tomorrow. It may be ugly and dark right now. Just keep fighting for your bright day, man. I say that because I know there's some people going through some storylines that are not desirable, right? I know there's some folks coming into this Saturday Positive Vibes saying, hey, man, tell me something happy. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some good news. So check this out, man. If you didn't know, one of my favorite actors, Michael B. Jordan, was People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive for 2020. Hey, you're like, what? Yes, I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan. I had MBJ from when he was on Black Panther to from before that. Look, all jokes aside, I'm a real big fan of his. I think he's great with his fans. The fandom, he pays attention to what we like as far as the films and as far as the storylines that he even the movie that he came out with on Netflix, the Raising Isaiah, I believe it was called. I mean, you can see that he has a real connection with what's, out here as far as fandom. And I appreciate that from anybody who's in the business, man. And 100% Michael B. Jordan, great actor. But I'm going to tell you, why did I mention MBJ on a Positive Vibe, Sexiest Man in 2020? Why would I want to bring him up, man? Just because I'm a fan? No. It's because this weekend, I happened to start watching the Creed movies again. I don't know if you guys have taken the chance to check out the movies Creed. Incredible storylines, man, in those movies. And when I say that word incredible, and I'll tell you, it's one of those that you think about the message and the impact of the story far beyond the ending. So I'm going to say, for those folks going through something right now in December, the end of the year, end of 2020, you're down, but you're not out, right? I'm going to talk about that tonight, man. You are down, but you're not out. I'm also going to talk about how to use the pain, right? Those tears mean something. They want you to connect and feel something. And that's your power. It's the story that when you come through it, it's the power in surviving that story and making it through to the other side, having a story to tell. Don't let your pain go to waste. So that's what we're going to talk about today, man. And then on top of that, we're going to end with the third segment. We're going to talk about our Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team. Again, the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team. I always dedicate the third segment to them. And we'll connect to whatever message they had out there this week. My friends over at AF2W, we have some cool things we'll talk about in the third segment. Of course, that's every Saturday. So let's talk about one thing, man. No matter what you're going through, understand something. It's always rough. I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of the story. There's a guy who's trying to make a name for himself in the same industry as his father, underground, doing some really gritty things to try to make a name for himself. But he knows it's one of those scenarios where it's win or lose, winner takes all. If the only way to move is to fight for it. Reminds me a lot of my little brother's story, taking the pain of our childhood and turning it into a story of his own, to where he's an MMA fighter now and a coach. But this young man ended up being befriending his father's best friend, if you guys remember the Rocky movies. Then once the movie gets going, you start seeing that their relationship, similar to Rocky and his father, is towards more father-son-ish, right? And just the push-pull of the characters, man, it was an amazing pull. It pulls you in. I mean, there's no way you can and not be pulled into that story. It wasn't a huge budget movie. It was really a great story. Even to the fight scene of part one. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for the folks who haven't seen it, but it's not what you expect to happen at the end after watching all the Rocky movies. But it's still like, wow, I really like this movie, right? So then the second one comes. This guy got a storyline of his own now, right? Now, he met Rocky in the first one, and in the second one, he has a wife now. She's pregnant, if I'm not mistaken, and if you don't remember, if you haven't seen it, his wife has hearing issues, which really kick into gear in the second story. And this fight, even goes even deeper. Sins of the father, where his father's arch nemesis, the person who killed his father in the ring, their son is fighting, and he wants a piece of this guy, right? No matter what, this is what I'm going to do. So he's putting himself in situations that he's not ready for. At the end of the movie, I'm just really trying not to spoil the movie if you guys haven't seen it, but I'm going to tell you this. The story unfolds. It was a perfect example of the worst things in your life can hit you. Sometimes your life can be going in a direction that's great, wonderful, and just amazing, and you're just so excited and everything's going right. And then something out of nowhere can just knock the carpet from underneath your feet and just throw your whole world in array, right? So I say all of that to say this. In this movie, he had everything, lost everything, had to build himself back up and fight for it. He had to fight all over again. Some people, they get to a point in their lives where they think, I don't got to fight anymore. I'm happy. I'm good. And then something happens, right? And it reminds me of what Mike Tyson said. Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? And when it comes to situations like life, everyone has a plan, a vision, a goal, and they can be moving perfectly with no problems, no ruffles. And then something just comes and punches them in the mouth and throws them completely off track. Now, if you've been preparing for it, right, worst case scenarios, then it's not going to have as much of an impact on you. But if you've never been through anything like that, if you've never felt any kind of pain like the pain you're feeling, or if you've never experienced a loss like the loss you're feeling, or if you've never experienced being down and out, this is when it really truly hits those people. Because they've heard the stories, but they've never experienced the stories, right? And that's why it's so important in some jobs that you don't jump into a job that you don't realize there's an emotional impact connected to it. Because sometimes those things you have to know how to navigate people through. And if you've never been through it, you can't navigate them. You're walking together. You're trying to figure it out together where they came to you to help guide them. So not to take anything away from the story of Creed 1 and Creed 2. And I definitely want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, because I'll tell you, it's maybe 4 hours of your life that you truly won't feel wasted or cheated. It's a great story, right? And I'm hoping for a part 3 somehow, if they can do it. Not to ruin the steam, but it really ended well, and it can pick up on another story. So I'll tell you, what I learned from that and what I took away is foundation, turbulence, loss, rebuilding, resetting, timeout. All these words that people don't know how to use correctly, and they end up sometimes in the bind because they don't know how to put it all together. Just pause, stop, and then move forward. I'll give you a perfect example. If you're stressed out and it's a bunch of people coming at you from left and right, and you're all over the place mentally, and you want to take a social media break, why announce it? If you can see me on YouTube, you see me put my hand on my face on, why announce it? If you want to protect your peace and just kind of back away from it all, why would you announce it to everybody to bring more attention to it? I'm talking lessons learned. Watch other people do it. If you really want to truly take a step back, then do it. Take a step back. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to raise your hand. You just step back. And you look at whatever you're trying to see from a bird's eye view, right? Or from the tower view, whatever you want to call it, 6th floor view, whatever it is. Take a step back, time out, and look at it. And I've seen so many people, I can name right now on my social media friends, that they always want to call it, hey, if you guys taking a social media break, just want to let you guys know, hey, I'm still here. Dude, just go. We get it. We understand. And guess what? The cool thing about it is when you do just take a pause, time out, step back, you get to see who misses you. You get to see who's looking for you, who's checking for you, who's worried about you, who feels disconnected, right? It shows you more than just what your life is looking like when you're trying to eat the whole elephant of life. And for those of you who don't know what that means, picture an elephant, how huge and massive an elephant is, right? Now go up and put your nose on the elephant. What can you see? Can you see the tail? No. Can you see the ears? No, because your nose is on the elephant. All you see is gray, right? Your nose is there. Can you see the trunk? No. But when you take a couple of steps back, what can you see? You can see the feet now, right? Take some more steps back. You can see the stomach, the belly. Take some more. You can see the tail. You can see the ears. You can see the trunk. Sometimes you have to take a step back. Sometimes you have to call time out. Sometimes you have to, where if you're at a job that's super intense, find a way to take leave, take a break, take a mental break, reset. It's okay. PYP is what I tell my friends. Protect your peace. You have to. Nobody's going to protect your peace for you. You have to pick and choose your spots and protect your peace. Right? So when I say that, you're down, but you're not out. It can feel when you're overwhelmed and you got things coming to you from left to right, front, back, and just pounding you. You had a great thing going and something just comes and punches you in the mouth. Hey, before you just keep moving and just flying into it, pause. Take a break. Take a seat. Breathe. Look at it. Stop swinging for a second. Look at it. So if you think about it from a fighter's perspective, right? You know, I always like to tie sports in here. You go in the ring, ding, 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 and you swing it. Some of y'all saw that the other day, right? The guy got knocked out. It's funny. And then you take a step back, right? You see what the other fighter's doing, how he's swinging at you. You see what kind of combos he's bringing at you. And then, boom, boom, okay, now you got it. You come back in. Say what? He catches you with something you didn't see coming. Bloop. You're on the ground. You're down because, hey, it caught you completely off guard. You're on the ground. And then the ref comes out. What did the ref do? 1. And you hear it, right? You hear the words 2. You hear the numbers, and in your head might be ringing. You might not be able to get your thoughts together, but you know you don't want to stay on the ground. You don't want to stay down. You keep fighting to get back up. 3. I can't be down here, man. I got too much to fight for. 4. My family, my kids, my job, my coworkers, my friends. 5. Man, I got so much more I want to do in life. I'm not done yet. 6. Man, I've gotten this far. I had to fight forever to get here. 7. There's too much more left in me. I'm not done. 8. Now let me stand up. I'm on my right foot. 9. Left foot. I'm up. All right, here we go. Let's go. What do we have left? It took time to get back on your feet. You're going to feel something that you've never felt before if it catches you off guard, that you've never dealt with, if you've never had that story in your life. Things in life do that to you. They're going to catch you off guard, but you got to stay strong. You got to keep your head in the game. You got to stay focused. What is your goal? What is your why? Why are you doing all of this? Keep fighting. You get back on your feet and it's game time, right? And there's so many stories of people who've lost everything and fought tooth and nail to get just a little bit back. And then before they know it, they're still climbing and they've gotten everything back plus more because they never gave up on themselves. And then there's those folks who was taking years to get back to where they used to be, or years to build something and they lose it. But they keep fighting. You hear me? Keep fighting. Because no matter what was going on in their life, no matter what they lost, the gain, the story, they learned from it. They learned the lesson. And now they're fighting. They're fighting and they're teaching somebody else who's sitting there watching them fight how to fight too. It's not always about them. So check this out. If you fall, if you're down, you're not out. Keep fighting. We'll talk more after this commercial break. 78.6 FM, Yomatown. This is Positive Vibes with Winsome. We're coming back. We were talking about down, but not out in the last one. I was talking about watching the movies Creed, and the message I got from it was, yo, at the end of the day, you keep fighting. The story is, hey, guess what? Everything I went through, everything that I suffered, everything that I fought for, I'm still standing. You may not be where you were, but you're going to be somewhere beautiful, right? So no matter what, keep fighting. Sometimes you have to call timeout. Even boxers get a break. They get to go to the ring and get water. They come back. Ding, ding, ding. Talked about what goes through their mind when they get knocked out. I can't do this. I can't stay down here. I got to get back up. But one of the things that people forget about boxers is you get to see them shiny and swing and swole up when they're in the ring. But there's training that goes into that. There's a foundation. They got to build that house to get into the ring. And what happens is, with a fighter, they got to go through some intense training. You should see some of the things I've seen some boxers go through, from stuff being dropped in their abs, what they have to carry. If you see the movie Creed, it showed you some insane workouts that these guys got to do just to get in the ring for those rounds. One night. All the extensive training they've got to do. So if we're comparing boxing to life, which I'm so excited to do because I used to love boxing growing up. Favorite boxer was Mike Tyson. So Chad, I'm going to talk about that at the end. So if you know they're getting ready, they're training, they're building that foundation, and we're comparing this to life, hey, check this out, man. What is your foundation? What is your house made of? What kind of training are you doing to go through when life hits you with those left hooks, those jabs, uppercuts, elbows if the person cheating, ears getting bitten if you're fighting Mike Tyson in his prime? Hey, listen, what are you doing to prepare yourself? So if you're buying a house in the United States, right back home, you get to pick all the things that you want. I want my house to be made of this. I only want the best this. I want the flush marble so that I can do this. I want the countertops to be. Listen to me. What are you building for you emotionally? I want the best this. I want the best attitude. I want the best personality. I want to be resilient. I want to be able to focus. I don't want to procrastinate. What are you building your house of? What is your house made of? What is your character? Right? Because at the end of the day, when you go through anything, that's the one takeaway. Did you go through it and did you cry the whole time, or did you realize, hey, you know what? My character says I need to fight. I'm going to feel this, but I'm going to fight. I'm a harp on this. No, I'm going to fight. I'm going to say this is where I'm trying to be. No matter where I'm at, I have a goal. I have somewhere I need to get back to. I got a climb I need to do. What is your character? Let's start there. What does your character say when you go through things? Do you blame other people for going through it? Or do you take ownership and accountability for yourself? Say, this is why I'm here. The decisions that I've made in my life, the moves that I've made, the maneuvering I've done, this is why I'm here. But guess what? The same way I walked into this trap, I can walk out of this mess. I just got to find a way. It took work to get here, and it can take work to get out of here. You see, that's what people forget sometimes. It's all about steps, action steps to get anywhere, to and from a journey. So when you're in there, right, you think about, what is my house made of? Emotionally, you talk about mentally, spiritually, physically, and socially. Those are the four components that I want to talk about in your house, because guess what? In boxing, we have muscles that we got to work out. Well, these are the four muscles that I think is the most important that your house needs to be built on. Your house, you. Giving that free Under Armour endorsement right, protect your house. Check this out. Your social. Who do you surround yourself with? Who are your friends? Who is your circle? I always say this, man. You show me your 5 friends, I'll show you who you are. Who's your circle? Who's your social network? On your friends list, do you worry about what you post because you know that one person's going to hate, snitch on you and say, hey, I think something's happening with this guy. We need to check. No, you should feel comfortable with everybody who's on your friend list so that you can post whatever you want on your page. Let me tell you something. If you're happy about something, you shouldn't be worried that somebody's going to steal your joy if you post it. Come on, man. Do you hear me? That's not a friend. That's not somebody you need in your social circle, right? And because we're so separated these days, the way that we can't be next to each other, it's more important to protect your peace socially as well. So you talk about who your circle is, and you talk about your family connection. When was the last time you reached out and really had a heart-to-heart with someone in your family? When was the last time you said, hey, man, I'm just touching to tell you I love you? Hey, lady, I'm just calling to tell you I miss you. When was the last time you reconnected? We can't have family reunions anymore like we used to. But when was the last time you tried to have a virtual one just to connect everybody, right? Like Zoom. Some families do it, and some families didn't even know how. Social. Who are the friends? Who's your mentor? Who's your go-to person? Who's spotting you emotionally and mentally when you're going through something? Hey, my wife's got me. Yeah, but what about when your wife's busy? Who's your best friend? Who's your mentor who's going to tell you the truth no matter what? Hey, if you're doing great, you're doing great. But if you're horrible at something, I'm going to tell you, hey, bro, you need work. Who's that person? So you have so much that you have to build your house on, but start there, your social, right? Who do you surround yourself with, not just online, but in person, at work, at home, on your time? That's social. And then you go to spiritual, faith-driven. What do you believe in? What drives you? What do you believe in? What do you have your faith in? Do you, like people say they have faith in 2021 is going to be better than 2020. Hey, at least they got faith in something. Do you hear me? Do you take time to reconnect with yourself? People see spiritually as a connection with you as well. Do you take time to, what they say, meditate? Breathe, reset. I talked about in the first segment, taking time out. Do you take time to take care of you? Self-care. Let me reconnect what's going on around me. Let me be present in the moment, right? Let me be right here, right now. Let me not take in everything that's been going on all week or all year at once. Let me stop trying to eat that elephant, take my nose away from it, and be present in right now. Do you do that? Have you taken time and built that into your house? You see where I'm going with this? You see, everyone's house is built differently, and that's why some houses are stronger than others. No matter what the weather is, no matter what comes, typhoon, hurricanes, what you call it, earthquakes, right? Some houses are still standing. It's because those individuals put that work in. Social, mental, spiritual, physical, mental. Guys, some people are so scared to go sit down and talk to someone. If you can't do it yourself, get help. You can't solve all of your problems by yourself. I'm sorry. Not all. You can't. Yes, it's going to take you to do the work. It's going to take you to reach out. But some things you will need to get help. And some people think it's always about going into a doctor's office and sitting down on that couch. And no, listen to me when I tell you this. Sometimes the answer can be in a conversation with somebody who's been through it, who survived it, and got those tips to navigate someone else through. That's a friend, mentor, teammate, wingman. And sometimes when they can't, they help you navigate to the right place who can. Maybe the person that they went to or the scenario that they used, right? The direction they went. See, don't be ashamed and get out of your ego and get out of your mindset that you can't reach out for help. That's what it's there for. That's why it's built, because they realize someone in their genius thought said, we need to build this in case someone goes through this, right? That's why it's there. That's why it's a tool. You got to use the tools that are out there because you can't do everything alone. Sorry. So if your ego was like, I can do this, I got this, me, I, that's where you failed. You already failed. Because you got to understand that some things you need to help or you need to get help for. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. Mentally, you need to take breaks. You need to reset. You need to write things down. Someone spoke on the site about journaling. Because guess what? There's a story in everything we do. I tell you, you want to find the positives and the negatives. Well, you can't even do that if you don't write down the story itself. How can you pull from the positive if you don't know the story? You got to have something to pull from, right? And some things you can keep up here in your head and say, hey, I remember when I know. But how about when you have it jotted down of what you're happy for? what you're grateful for, what you survived. And you share that. People are so, I keep seeing these posts about don't share this with nobody, you move in silence. Dude, guys, let me tell you something. There's somebody watching you all the time to see how you survive and fight and you get through the struggles of life. So be proud of your accomplishments and achievements and share those with the folks who are trying to fight for their tomorrow. They might need to hear those stories. There's a lot of pride and ego out there right now, man, and it's not about you. It's about what's next. So with that being said, you start talking about physical. I'm not talking about always getting in the gym and lifting weights. No, are you taking care of yourself? There's people that don't eat throughout the day, maybe once because they're so-called so busy. Don't work out at all because they can't find time. These are things you got to build into your house. Build it. Your house has 4 foundations. I just gave them to you. So if you break one down, the wind comes and blows one down, you still got 3 foundations to stand on, right? The wind comes and blows down another one. Okay, so spiritually, I'm just not really sure where I want to be. Whew. Guess what? I still got physical. I'm still going to the gym to help de-stress. I'm still sitting down with a counselor that helps sort my thoughts out, right? Come on, man. I'm still taking time to meditate in the mornings or listen to something that's helping me calm myself in the mornings to get ready for the day. Motivation. Have faith that 2021 is going to be better than 2020. I have faith that tomorrow is going to be better than today. I got faith in something. Listen to me. You have a house with 4 foundations. That means you have a possibility and potential to have a really strong house if you build up on all 4 foundations. And if one of them is weak, then you attack it and make it strong. It's the only way. Because when you start, look at it like this. You got 4 legs. Somebody kicks one out, you still got 3. Kick another one out, you still got 2. Kick another one out, you're still hopping around on 1. And then you got a chance while that one you hopping to build those legs back up because guess what? You know where to go and who to talk to. You got to have a strong house. You got to pay attention. Know where your strength is. We'll be back right after this break. .6 FM, Yoma Time. This is Positive Vibes with Winston. We're coming back. As you know, the third segment of the show was always dedicated. As of last week, it was our first inaugural week. This week is the third segment, the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team segment. So today, they had some really cool things that were posted in the week. And again, if you guys aren't familiar, the group is the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Group. It is on Facebook, and they post positive vibes throughout the week, which is why I love the group. The team there knows, anything positive vibes, and especially with the audience that we're targeting, man, I love it, and I'm definitely going to support. Family, one thing you guys mentioned this week, and one of our folks posted something that was really cool. This is not your whole story. It's just a chapter. And I need you to hear me when I say I had a story like this a few weeks back on a segment where I said, hey, you hold the pen. I love that. So listen to me. This is not your whole story. This is just a chapter, and I'm going to dig deep into that a little bit, all right? Just surface action. I'm not going to go too deep. Check this out. Life is just a story. Your life is just a story. It's a story that you have an opportunity to make a beautiful one. You only get one shot at it. You only get one book. But in that book, you have so many chapters. From the beginning till now. You're going to have heroes and villains. You're going to have some folks who are superheroes. Some who are super villains, right? Then you're going to have some supporting characters walking around in this book too. Then you're going to have those people that you realize at the end of the story that they played a huge role in your book that you didn't even realize. And in there's going to be situations that happen, right? Think about it like a movie or something you're watching. You hold the lens and you're going through, or you're watching the character, the main character, go through something. You're like, wow, it's crazy. I wonder how they're going to get out of that one. But they do. They always find a way, right? Unless you're watching one of those shows like, what's the one, Game of Thrones, because you never know what's going to happen on that one. But for our lives, and what we have the opportunity to do is find a way. That chapter might be dark, like, ooh, man, where am I, 41 now? Chapter 40 was, rough. But chapter 41 was amazing, man. Did you see that? He got through and he fought and he kept swinging. And then that hero swept in and then the money came from nowhere. Listen to me. It's just a chapter. This is just right now. If you're going through something, 2020 is a whole horrible movie. A bad chapter that, hey, man, we can't wait to turn the page on, right? A lot of us. But at the same time, 2020 made us stronger. Oh, my. This chapter, if you really go back and watch that movie again, we learned a lot of lessons. If you go back and you really watch that movie, we had a different type. If you pull the positives out of it, we learned to adapt. We learned to reconnect in different ways. We learned how to be innovative. We had to keep distance. We lost the ability to smile at each other and to hug each other, but we learned how to smile through our eyes, right? We learned how to make sure people knew that we care. We learned how to be smarter, not harder. In some jobs, we had to make changes in order to keep each other safe. But in those changes, you realize, hey, wait a minute, we can do this forever. What are we doing right now? Some things were horrible. Can't travel where we want to go anymore. Can't see who we want to see anymore. Yeah, people are getting sick. That's the saddest thing. Scares the heck out of me because my family is exposed to that, just like yours. But then you look at it again, and the families that survived. The people who fought. This story is every day. I hear people who survive it, and they're stronger on the other end, and they have a story to tell. Not the negative, the positives. Try to find them. Because at the end of the day, 2021, we're going to be looking back at 2020 as if it's a chapter in our lives. So the comment that was made about, hey, listen to me. This is not the whole story. This is just a chapter. It's a fact. And we hold the pen. You see, there's some people that while everybody was so focused on the negative of 2020, they were driven and setting themselves up for 2021. See, there's so many people focused in on what say you, the election, the social injustice? What say you COVID? What say you travel? What say? Let me tell you something. There's so many things. The deaths of 2020 of superheroes like Kobe Bryant. I mean, there were so many things that we could lose focus in on, right? Think about this. The not being able to go to the movie theaters anymore. You see, what say you? All these things we could have focused on. But the people who had a vision that saw past it, that realized that this is just a chapter. I need to start looking at the next page. I need to start looking at chapter 21 because chapter 20, hey, this is about to be gone. So let me start getting my mind wrapped around what I want the story to look like next. Because this one's already written. And those people, for example, the folks who are saying, hey, since we can't go out to the theater, we're going to put all this online for you. You buy a little pretty packet, and you can watch all the same movies. I don't care who you got in your living room because it's going to be there for you. These are folks who are forward thinking. They're probably going to charge an arm and a leg for it. But listen to me. The reality is just as such. There's so much beauty behind the ugliness. You just have to find it. You have to search for it. The negativity is easy to find because everybody's chasing that first. It's what the news media chases first, the negative. How you think they get viewers? How you think they pull you in? It's the negative story because that's what's attractive. It's the psychology behind it. And I want to protect you. If you're listening to this third segment, the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency segment, you know I'm telling you, find the good in the bad. Find the good, right? And another thing about that, if you really take a step back and look at everything that's happening in front of you, remember what I told you, take a few steps back. Where do you place yourself in this? Where do you stand? What is within your control? For a lot of you, it's you and your family's movements, protecting your family. You and yourself, protecting your peace. Those foundations I told you, working on those. Mental, social, physical, spiritual, getting yourself tight, mentally preparing yourself for the best case scenario and worst case scenario of 2021. Because as much as we got faith that 2021 is going to be great and better, guess what? We got to prepare ourselves for whatever comes next. Think about that for a second. Don't just jump in because you're going to put yourself right back in the same trap that we were talking about before. That we walk in with a plan and then life is going to punch us in the mouth and then we didn't have a plan after what we do if we get punched in the mouth. You got to plan for the best or hope for the best, but plan for the worst case scenario just in case. Mental prep. That's a real strong foundation. Think about that. I know the storm is going to come. Hey, it looks sunny outside, but I know there may be some rain, right? So just in case, I'm going to put in my backpack a raincoat. That's how you prepare yourself mentally for whatever comes next. This chapter, this part of your life, this what's going on right now, this is just temporary. Are you forward thinking? Are you looking at what happens next? Are you looking at what could be? Another person said, hey, we talked about starting our day off with gratitude. And I'm thankful for the opportunity, man, to tell you that. This is the most important thing in the world is to maintain a positive attitude because it's contagious. And in a world full of negativity, to be that person that's carrying on the positive vibes or that has the positive vibes going on, you're going to stand out. You're going to be that person that people look to for energy. That person that when someone's having a really bad day, they know they can come and get a little bit of energy from you. You see, it's kind of hard when you're moving and you're not recognizing who's moving with you. Because those folks are looking towards you. And I told you, you have to be able to navigate someone else through pain. Someone else through a story. Someone else through a situation that you've experienced. And if you've never been there, you may just be that person to walk it with them. So many stories of that, man. And one beautiful thing we talked about too was kindness, gratitude, right? I just mentioned that. Talk about kindness as well. I dare you. I dare you all of next week before the Christmas break. I'm going to be in the middle of something else going on at my job to where it's not going to allot me as much time to do this. But I dare you, if you're listening, do something kind without telling anyone each day. Do something monumentally kind each day next week. Remember Thanksgiving, I was telling everybody for the week to call someone and tell them that you care about them and why you appreciate them. This week, I want you to think about this. This is my challenge for this week. Do something kind. Don't tell nobody. Now, if you're in the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency group, I want you to share what you do each day, right? On Monday, I did this. Tuesday. But if you're out there, you're not in that part of that group yet, challenge yourself. I dare you. Do something kind on Monday. I dare you. Do something kind on Tuesday. Something that you know is outside of your comfort zone possibly too, right? Not just the typical things, opening the door for somebody. No, something that's different. Something that's going to make you, force you to grow from it, that you're going to learn from it. Something, of course, that you have time for, but that you haven't done before. Can you do that? For a lot of people, it's hard because, hey, I'm just moving with the status quo. But find a point, make it a point to do something kind each day this next week. I'll share maybe one with you next Saturday. Tell you what I do, right? Maybe 1 out of 7, because I'm going to do 7. I'm going to do something kind each day, monumentally, to make sure I leave an impact on somebody. Do that. It's contagious. It spreads. Come on, man. Now, this is from the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Group. All these things I'm talking about in this third segment, this is what the group chats about throughout the week. They send, usually there's a post that comes out, and then people comment on the post and discuss it. But everything is positive vibes. It's all about, hey, how can we be better? How can we leave our mark in this world and become a better version of ourselves? A group dedicated to growth. A group dedicated to kindness. A group dedicated to gratitude. A group dedicated to mental health, strength, resiliency. Be a part of that group. Get out there, the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Group. Hey, I'm proud to be a part of that group, and I encourage you to go and check out. You don't have to be Air Force Wounded Warrior. You can be active duty. You can be Air Force. Or if you're one of my Facebook friends, just jump in there and check it out if you got something positive to bring. Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Group. And before we go, one of the cool things I also saw out there throughout the week, and something I definitely want to touch on, is I am. Echo, I see you a few weeks ago I talked about I am, I can, and I will. So if you're in a place right now that you're doubting yourself, you're in a place right now you're struggling with who you are or what you want to accomplish next. You're in a place right now where it's hard for you to see, not even, past the elephant. It's too big. You can't get around it. It's hard to take steps back. Tell yourself something. You are good enough, strong enough, wise enough to do it. That's I am. I can. I can do this. I can achieve this. I can accomplish whatever I set my mind to. I will. Is the last one. I will achieve this. I will accomplish this goal. I will see this vision through. I will encourage others to walk with me. I will be better than yesterday. I am, I can, and I will. Tell yourself that. Hey, guess what, man? I'll see you next week. Positive vibes.